Hello, welcome to Pumpkin Corner Nursery. Here are a few babies that I've made. On Instagram, I am Pumpkin Corner Nursery. On Facebook, I am on canvas. Prior to painting Reborns, I painted nature and animal scenes on canvas. And then I made these little logos for myself. And I'm going to be painting. Good morning. So today I'm just going to go over my materials. I'm going to talk a little bit about the priming and varnishing process. So, of course, I'm going to have all my kit pieces with me today. I'm going to start reborning the Reborn Christopher asleep from Bountiful Baby. This is the head and face. I have the limbs inside of my case where I keep them secure so that they don't attract a lot of lint and dust. So I'm going to put this to the side for a minute on my drying rack. I have these cosmetic wedges that I have taken tweezers and added little shapes to them so that I can get that skin tone, evened out skin tone that we're trying to get with the realism for the baby's skin. And so I have one to pounce, varnish or paint on with, and one to pounce off with. So you want one to add paint to your kit and one to dry and pounce it into the kit. Okay. Then I have some paint brushes because sometimes I prefer the method of adding the varnish or the skin tone or the undertones or whatever layer I'm working on. I'm going to add it with paint brushes. Some of my paintbrushes are to add with, and some of my paintbrushes are used to pounce off with. So you always want to have paintbrushes that two different sets. One where you add the paint and one where you pounce off. And you want tiny, smaller paintbrushes so that you can get into the creases and the deep points of your kit. So for example, this baby has creases in the eyes, creases in the lips, creases around the nose, creases in the ears, creases under the neck. You can't get into those hard to reach places with these. So you need smaller paintbrushes so you can get those areas dry. Reason being, do you guys ever been in a place where it rained and the water got into the ceiling, and that water that got into the ceiling left a stain? That's how your kit is going to look if you don't pounce off well. And also with air dry paints, air dry painting is a very fast drying process. So, for example, if I'm at the back of the head adding varnish or paint, and that varnish or paint is so loose that it's running around the kit and I don't notice it, and varnish and paint gets around here as a streak and I don't catch that in time, I'm going to have an issue with a stain that's going to look just like the ceiling um, that I was describing. So you want to be very careful. And I would say, if you're a beginner and you're just starting to air dry paint or paint, you don't want to cover your kit because you might not be able to keep up with the drying process. You also might not be able to keep up with where the liquids are running to. And I'm telling you, it's happened to me so many times where I'm painting one section of the kit, but the liquid is running in different directions around my kit. And sometimes I'm like painting and turning because I want to make sure that if I'm not on the face, that I don't have liquid on the face that I'm not ready to dry. If that liquid dries, it's going to dry as a stain, just like those stains that's in the ceiling tiles when it rains. So You want to avoid that. You want to make sure that you are having a brush to pounce dry with. And you want to make sure you have several brushes somewhere where you can just access them when these get too wet or you dry off on your paper towel. But sometimes your paintbrushes just get worn out and they get so saturated, you need a fresh paintbrush. So just make sure you have ample materials so that you can get the best look possible. Let me keep talking about what I have on my table. I do have gloves so that I don't keep, because our skin has natural oils in them. And like when you get ready to do this process, don't put lotions and all that kind of good stuff on. You want your, make sure you wash your hands real good. And then, if you can't use gloves, I would suggest that you pick your kit pieces up. Try at best to pick the kit pieces up by these ends, these thicker ends that are going to be inside the body. Like you won't really be able to see this part once you put the baby together. So you can use these ends to help you, but you want to minimize your physical contact with the sculpt because of the oils that could inhibit you or prohibit you from, I believe the word is prohibit. It could prohibit you or stop you from being able to get that paint to go into the kit because it's oil. That was the whole point of alcohol and sanitizing your kit to get the oils off, right? So you don't want to then go back and then start touching it and add oils to the kit. So I do have gloves for that. Um, I learned a new method. Sometimes my hands cramp up when I'm painting. So I did learn a new method of being able to stick this into the kit and then it like, I don't know, it just helps me better to hold it. And it doesn't feel like it's all the pressure on my thumb and my fingers. Some of that pressure has been, now put on this wooden dowel. So I'm going to try this process. If I don't like it, then I'm going to go back to my regular process because I want the best outcome. But the varnishing time is the varnishing process is the best time for me to try this out. I don't want to be fumbling around when I start to actually paint. I want that process to be as seamless as possible. So I'm going to try this little new technique out and see if it works for me. If it doesn't work, then I'm not going to use it when I start painting because I don't want my kit messed up. I do have Folk Art Outdoor Matte Varnish that I'm going to be using to prime or varnish my kit. I also have distilled water in this little thing so I can add drops, and not so much of it at one time. I have some additional distilled water ready in case I run out. And, oh yes, I have these kabuki brushes or makeup brushes to help me with pouncing off. So sometimes I may use this to pounce on the varnish or the paint, and then use these to help me pounce it dry instead of one of these to dry it with. So I mean, it's different methods. It's what works best for you. But typically, one of these you pounce on, one of these you pounce off. You can use paintbrushes to add paint on. You can use paintbrushes to help you dry certain areas. And likewise, I never use these to paint with. I always use these to pounce dry with or to get off dust. Okay. Outside of that, I believe that's pretty much it. I have tons of these plucked already and ready. I have paper towels so that if my paintbrush gets oversaturated, I can wipe that off or dab it off and get extras off, extra